Alright, what's up everyone? This is Joshua with Tree Industries. Hope everybody's staying safe and doing well. Got a pretty fun dev stream planned for you all today. We're going to be kind of kicking up a new concept game, and essentially what we're going to be doing is covering a few different popular assets that are used for Unreal Engine development. If you're kind of new to game development, this should be a pretty good video for you. I'm going to be covering some basic blueprints, how to use marketplace assets and kind of combine them together to create new and unique game concepts, and kind of just hanging out and chatting and kind of taking any questions as well. So, if you're hanging out and chat with us, definitely feel free to throw out a question about Unreal Engine or game development in general. I'll be happy to kind of answer that as we go along. I'm not really in any big rush today, so just going to kind of take it step by step and, kind of cover a whole bunch of different things. So, first thing that we've got here is I have a template for an arcade shooter that we got from, I think, one of the free monthly assets. Let's see if I can pull that up real quick. So this is the one we're using as the base template. And one of the things that we want to do is just kind of update the visuals and throw in some other goodies to kind of make it a little more unique and not so much kind of exactly like the template. Alright. So as we posted before the stream today, we're going to be covering a few different plugins and assets. So let me kind of go over which ones we're going to be covering and that we plan to use for this concept game. One is the Voxel plugin. It's a really, really cool plugin that you can do all kinds of different procedural kind of terrain generation with. There's a free version and a pro version, so we have not had the chance to use the pro version yet, so for today's work we're going to be using the free version, which has a lot of cool features in itself. So we're also going to be utilizing the Brushify tools, which are a really, really great set of assets for landscape, terrain. One of the big things we like is the kind of the master material for auto landscaping, and with the latest update to Voxel, you can now use any type of traditional landscape material in Unreal Engine with the Voxel plugin. So that's one of the things that we're going to be kind of going over a little bit today as well. Okay, we've also got an explosions builder just to kind of update some of the visual effects, and we also have a targeting system that we're going to be implementing. So most of this was available on the marketplace. What we're going to be doing is kind of going through the blueprints and different blueprint components and kind of picking out what we need and putting it into the existing logic for the template that we kind of use as a base, and then we'll start seeing things come together after that. Okay, so I'm just going to play through the template really quick. Use keyboard for directional movement and mouse for firing. So it's kind of a on rails shooter here, so kind of I go here, but that's about it until you get to the boss. That's kind of how it's set up. Go ahead and exit out of that. So for the rails mechanism and mechanic, it looks like it has a spline component. And if you're not familiar with what a spline component is, that is essentially a set of points connected by a spline. And different spline components will do different things. Sometimes you can spawn like a static mesh or a set of actors along a spline. This one in particular looks like it's to keep the player vehicle kind of moving along this line here. So I pretty much just cranked open this project template today, so I'm going to be kind of learning some of the setup as well as we go along here before we get too deep into some of the things I want to add to it. So for anybody that might be curious, you might say, you know, there's a lot of arcade shooters out there, and there's a lot of great games that have this type of gameplay, so why would we want to make another one and take that time? Well, this is really going to be more of just a concept game for a very specific thing that we're doing with Unreal Engine. And if you've seen any of our other videos, you might know that we're working on integrating Smart Assistant AI technology with Unreal Engine itself. And we've done some really cool concepts so far. What we want to do is take it to the next level. So we've done some basic things where you can interact with the Smart Assistant by voice and have things happen in the engine in real time. Most of that's been a very kind of slow back and forth type of interaction. What we want to do with this game is kind of take that to the next level. So one of the things that we're going to be doing is like having the targeting system. So if you think of like Iron Man and Jarvis there, where, you know, when he's actually in the suit, you might be able to say, you know, target all of a certain type of enemy. And what we want to do is have that same type of functionality for this game is the goal. So as you're kind of playing through it, you know, you're using your laser, but you might have missiles. And you might say to the Smart Assistant, lock onto turrets. And then whatever turrets are within the range of your kind of visual bounds for the Unreal Engine side, it'll lock on just by doing it by voice. So you'll trigger a wake word with the gamepad, say target all turrets, and then while you're firing your lasers and everything, it'll lock onto those, and then you could say fire missiles. And so you have this kind of enhanced gameplay where you're still playing traditionally, but you're able to give enhanced commands by voice and actually get feedback from the Smart Assistant as well. So we're going to kind of see where that goes. You know, it's definitely an ambitious proof of concept, but we know it's one that theoretically we can make happen. It's just how does it actually translate into gameplay? That's what we want to find out with this concept game. Okay, so I think one of the first things I want to do is go ahead and add our Voxel world. So for this, you'll need to make sure that you already have the Voxel plugin installed. We'll do a search for Voxel. I'm going to drag that out. Okay, let's go ahead and I think we'll move that up a bit. Okay, so we pretty much got it even with the existing landscape. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. So this is what was included with the template, and this is a traditional Unreal Engine landscape if you're familiar with that tool. So what we're going to be doing is replacing this landscape and now using a Voxel world. So I'm going to keep this as a reference for now. Might toggle it on and off as we need to as we kind of sculpt out the voxel terrain. Okay, So before we start sculpting, there's a couple things that I want to do here. Take a drink real quick, we'll get to it. It looks like we got a couple people here now, so I appreciate you joining us. Hope you can pick something up along the way as we move forward here. Okay, so we're going to select the voxel terrain. The next thing that we want to go ahead and do is probably set up this voxel terrain material with the Brushify landscape that we've already imported into the project. Okay, so we're going to go to the material folder on the Brushify and go to landscape. So I've actually already created one, but just for reference, when you want to use a Unreal Engine landscape with the voxel, you'll essentially need to right click in your content editor, go to voxel, and create a voxel landscape material collection. That'll create a new one of these, and I'll go ahead and open that up and show you how that works. So what you do here is you will drag your Unreal Engine landscape that you want to use with the voxel, and you just drag it there. It'll kind of auto-populate the different layers, and that's actually the landscape layers. So as you can see, Brushify has quite a few built in with the multi-biome terrain. So don't really need to do much else with that. Once we have that set up, we will drag this new voxel landscape material after we set this to multi-index. So it's RGB by default on the Voxel plugin. Make sure to set it to multi-index first. Drag that over. And now we're using our nice voxel terrain with our very, very cool auto landscape material from Brushify. Before we start sculpting, we'll maybe do a little painting, show you how that works with the voxels. So you're going to go to Surface, Multi-Index, and here you can select the different layer channel. Make sure you have Sculpt to unselected and Paint to selected. That should give us the basics. Paint a little bit and see how that looks. Alright, not bad. Go ahead and just put that back to grass and we'll paint that back over. Excuse me. So we don't really have a set type of biome that we want to use for this concept, so I'm going to go through a few of the different voxel worlds that kind of are included with the asset. Go back up here to the details. And under the general settings and generator, you'll see a list of some different voxel generators that are included with the free version. So we'll just go ahead and click on cliffs. Move out here a bit. So as you can see, that pretty much procedurally generated a whole world for us to populate. And with the Brushify, I'd say it came out, you know, pretty nice just for a first run. Let's try a couple others. So you can see the Voxel Plugin is a pretty nifty tool to generate all types of different terrain kind of on the fly. I'm going to go ahead and try the planet. There it is. I almost feel like for this concept, one level would be pretty cool. It's just have like a voxel planet about the size of this level, and then just have the spline component, and you're going all around this voxel generated planet. So it kind of gives it that sense of rotation, I guess. If you're talking like a arcade space shooter, I feel like that would be a good fit. For now, we'll go ahead and use something that works with our current level. Let's try the dunes. Set. I'm trying to figure out, can we set a default material channel? No, I guess we won't worry about that right now, though. I do want to kind of see how this looks. Just going to go ahead and paint a few of these dunes. Not bad. Okay, so for what we actually want to do for this level, I'm going to go back and just make it a flat generator. All right. So my question to myself is, do I want to keep the water here? maybe we don't worry about that for now and just take it out. And I feel like if we do add water here, we might add the, I'm not sure if I have it. The unified, excuse me, the new unified water system that has all the realistic caustics and ripples and all that. So what we'll do is we're just going to take that out. Go ahead and do a little sculpting here. Sculpting seems a little laggy with the Brushify material on here. Okay, so mask is a pro feature. No problem there. Alright, so we have to do some more sculpting. We got some of the basics. Looks like we need collision set up and just a few more things, but still running at about 100 frames per second on mine. I have a GTX 1070, nothing too crazy, so. One thing I want to do is kind of, instead of having these static mesh arches, use the voxel to create kind of a natural terrain arch on some of this stuff. There we go. There we go. Pretty cool. So we'll do is we'll get rid of that. Don't think we're going to need these rocks. We'll probably throw in some Megascans in place of some of that. Just to kind of see, you know, I know this was a stylized template, but just more practice for myself with the Megascan pipeline and, you know, Mixer and some of those other types of tools. We'll end up going that road with it, so we'll just get rid of those. So overall, I already like the look of the voxel terrain here compared to the meshes I had in there, which I understand it was, you know, it's a template, so, you know, not necessarily supposed to be final art. So I think this is a cool improvement having it with the voxel. You know, using the voxel terrain, I could definitely see having tunnels off to the side that could have stuff coming out at you that you have to dodge around. Which the plugin makes it super easy to just kind of create those holes that will work for that. Go ahead and add a little personality to the terrain out here, and it doesn't have to be anything final at this point. As you can see, you know, our Brushify auto landscape material makes it really easy to kind of have those nice transitions where you have the slope that has the rock and eases right into the grass. So, you know, having that auto landscape material will definitely save you a ton of time on painting the landscape if you have a good setup for it. So definitely recommend that to any new devs who are out there. Gotta be real careful when I'm sculpting the voxels here. Sometimes I kind of lose the edge. I think I put something right there. Overall, works pretty smooth though. I'm really excited to get the chance to really dig into the Voxel plugin here. I've been following the progress for quite a while, and I've always been impressed with the new updates coming out, but we just did not have the project for me to warrant spending a lot of time working with it, so I'm glad to get this chance. Just going to thicken out this column here. It's not bad. Add a little bit here on the top. Alright, cool. I'm liking that. I feel like it should be needs to be a little bit tighter of a corridor, I feel like. Smooth that out a bit. Definitely not bad so far. Let's see what happens here. Go right through it. That's okay. So let's go ahead, since this is going to serve as our main terrain, let's go ahead and check the collision on the voxel world. Alright, so we changed a couple settings. Set it to block all enable collisions. I don't know that we really need a nav mesh. We don't really have anything walking on the terrain at this point, but who knows what we might want to do later, so I'm going to go ahead and enable that. So we went right through it. I'll have to double check on that. That's not really a huge concern right now, though. So I can hit that terrain. So that's definitely doing damage. Okay, let's go ahead and kind of match up the voxel terrain with what was here in the default level. Just make sure we get this high enough here. going pretty well. So we're just going to spend a little bit of time landscaping this up, and then might go ahead and mix in a few Megascans assets just to kind of liven up the environment a little more. Just going to keep painting away here for a little bit. If anybody's got a technique or a question about Unreal Engine, something they're curious about, definitely feel free to throw it into chat. Every once in a while I'm kind of losing my reticule there to sculpt. Not bad, not bad. It's almost like when I lose it, I have to go in real close to get it back. Kind of like the way that looks. I mean, I wasn't supposed to be leaning like that, but it still looks kind of cool. I think we'll leave it for now. And honestly, the terrain we're building here doesn't have to be exactly how it was. Getting a little bit of lag on these bigger brush sizes. Luckily it's not too bad. So it looks like there's a, on this template level, there's a secret phase, quote unquote. So I'm not sure, I'm guessing you just head that direction. I think what we'll do is we'll turn this into a voxel tunnel. Ooh, that's killing my frame rate. Luckily not too much more sculpting to do here, so I'm not sure why that frame rate is dropping so bad. Smaller brush definitely seems to help a bit. Turn that strength up, make this go a little bit quicker here. get rid of that tunnel, and we'll make a new voxel tunnel right here. Looks like we got a couple of you tuning in, so I appreciate you being here this afternoon. We're continuing development on a concept game that will eventually allow us to play an arcade shooter and interact with a smart assistant by voice and have that interact with the game directly. And build a happy little tunnel right here. Definitely like that tool. Kind of gives everything, can give that a little bit more of a slope cut there. Kind of make things look a little more weathered. That's looking pretty good. Alright, just going to keep at this for a little bit longer and be ready to move on to the next thing. I think after I paint a little bit more landscape, we'll take a 5-minute break. I'm going to go grab a drink, and then when we come back, we'll start to kind of dig into the next topic. So we've been working with the Voxel plugin for a little while now. Probably switch gears and start to work with either mixing in some more Megascan assets just to fill out the environment, or possibly start on some of the targeting mechanics for the player. So just bear with me for a couple more minutes while I sculpt out some more of this terrain, and then we'll start cranking into a different asset pack. Alright, so I think that should be just about enough for now. I'm going to go ahead and grab a drink here, and I will be back shortly. Thanks for joining us. Alright, hey everyone, we're back. Done quite a bit with the Voxel plugin today. Hope you picked up a tip or two along the way. It's definitely a cool plugin. I've kind of just scratched the surface with it, but so far it has, served its purpose for what we want to do with this concept game. And I think at this point we can probably go ahead and delete out this traditional UE4 landscape here. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and play through the level once with our sculpted voxel terrain and see how it's looking. Okay, I'm already getting smacked around. Definitely like the look so far. Ooh, ouch. I feel like I need stronger weapons. Okay, so the secret check or secret phase should be coming up here. How do I get to it? It's gonna let me. No, it did not. Try that one more time. Wonder if I have to get that little icon. Just gonna get through this as fast as possible. wonder if that little icon that said B was supposed to be the one I needed for the boss. Thinking it was. Let's try to get that B symbol this time. Thinking that's what we need for the boss. Or the secret boss, I should say. I'm determined to get through our secret tunnel here. Okay, I hope this is what we were looking for. Hopefully. Still wouldn't let me. Might have to look that up. Well, apparently I suck at this game because I can't get to the secret boss. Okay, so went to the blueprint for this secret boss. Looks like there's a trigger counter. Okay, let's see where those are. Okay, so I have to get through all 3 of those. To unlock that phase. Okay. That makes sense now. Looks like you can set it to always active too. So this is, you know, arcade shooter has a pretty well thought out blueprints. I'm liking it so far. Let's try to boost through all this. Almost there. Okay. Moment of truth here. There we go. To go through our voxel made cave here. And I have to say I'm already liking it. I know it's a little thing, but I'm actually really happy I figured out how to do that. Let's see what kind of little boss we got here at the end. Oh gosh. Ouch. I think I gotta hit that open. Alright, 2 down. Oh gosh. Oh. Oh no. Okay, so spit me back out just before the secret phase. It's gonna let me do it again. Or am I locked out now? Yep, locked out. Okay, well, at least we figured out how to do that. Okay, so before we get too much further, I think we're going to do a little work to switch out the sky. So right now it has the traditional sky sphere. I think we're going to move to using the physical sky, so that way anybody who has not used that before, maybe you get a little insight there. Okay, so we have a directional light, so that serves as our light source. We have a skylight, so all these are pretty much what you would expect. What we want to do is, I believe we're going to get rid of the sky sphere. Whew. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. I think we have must be some kind of post-process on this level. I think there's some auto exposure happening. It was just the sun. That has kind of a cool look to it. So just to go over a few of the features of the Physical Sky plugin for Unreal Engine. What it basically does is it mimics actual latitude and longitude, time offset, and things like that to actually give a physical representation of what the sky would look like to the best of its ability. So with the Sun Sky actor, you'll see that it actually has multiple components kind of underneath it, each one serving a slightly different purpose. So the directional light here, that's kind of your actual sunlight. Your skylight controls kind of how dark and light the shadows are. And then the sky atmosphere is actually a newer piece of the puzzle. It's definitely added more recently. And what that will do is that actually it affects the way light moves through the atmosphere within the game engine. So I can turn up and down the scattering. You see that has different effects here and there. Turn up and down the atmosphere height. All these having slightly different effects. So if you want that real hazy, you can turn this, I think it's pronounced my scattering. Anyways, you can see you can definitely get real quickly a nice hazy look there with the sky atmosphere. Let's kind of see how that looks. It's actually kind of cool because with this, I can kind of only see kind of what's coming up right in front of me. I do notice this guy's pretty baked out, and I'm getting a lot of lens flare. So that's probably something to do with the post-processing. I'm not going to worry about that too much right now. But overall, I really like the way this is coming together already. Ooh, that is blinding. Ooh. Get out of that. So one thing about that scattering scale, when light bounces through the atmosphere more, it also means that anything like, as you can see, lens flares and things are going to be quite a bit more active when you turn that way up. So one thing to note, you know, when you're using the physical sky, is even though I'm technically kind of inside right now, that scattering scale is going to affect pretty much all light. So you can see I'm still getting a crazy lens flare. Now, for certain situations, you know, that might be exactly what you're looking for. So it's just a good thing to note there. Now, I actually kind of like the way this is looking right now. So eventually, when we start mixing this in with the Smart Assistant, as you, let's say, you get the boss down in health, if it gets to 80%, if you're connected to your local smart speaker there, which is how we'll have it, it might say, you know, the boss is at 80%, and it'll actually speak to you through that smart speaker. Alright, got it that time. So got a phase 2. What's going on? Oh, there it goes. So it took me to the next level here. I kind of want to just check it out anyway. So I think this level would be really cool to have a couple different voxel planets floating around. Now, if I had the pro version of the Voxel plugin, I could actually generate these asteroids as voxel meshes, which is part of that pro version. I won't be able to do that this time, but it'd be really cool. Just like the way we generated the terrain with voxels, you can basically spawn all kinds of different things, not just terrain with the Voxel plugin. Okay, so I think we're going to turn that scattering down just a bit. Maybe upping the absorption scale. Let's try that. Yeah, that's not as bad now. So we still get the hazy look, but the lens flares aren't quite as harsh. Still there, still pretty prevalent. And the sky isn't as baked out, washed out. Which is nice. It gives it a really nice foggy effect. You know, without having to do fog cards or any type of particles, or I think it doesn't even use volumetric fog if I'm not mistaken. So it's a really pretty low cost way to get a really nice hazy foggy effect for the overall atmosphere. Ooh, those streak glows were still really harsh. got me. Okay, just for the sake of getting rid of some of that, alright. Get a little bit darker shadows on here. See how that looks. I think overall that has a pretty good daytime look for now. We'll go ahead and just stick with that. So as you can see for the physical sky, there's only a few main configuration settings that you really got to worry about. So you can just basically play around with these to get the look you want. So January, see that sun's quite a bit smaller. Just kind of testing it with the post-process on and off. So there's with it on, it's with it off. And this is the one that came with the template, so I haven't really done anything custom for this concept game yet. I like that look. It has a nice outdoor look. Might need to check the post-process on the player camera. I think there might be a couple things happening there that we don't want to happen. Okay, so just to talk about where we're at so far, we've used the Voxel plugin. We have a arcade template that we've used as a base, and now we've mixed in that Voxel plugin for the terrain, and we've also implemented the sun sky actor rather than the traditional sky sphere, which gives a lot of great improvements and makes it a little bit easier to get an accurate looking outdoor scene. It does take a little bit to tweak the settings and get them how you like them, but it's definitely powerful, and I find it pretty easy to set up. So, from there, I think we might be about ready to wrap it up for today. Been streaming for a couple hours, so I hope you picked up a few interesting points and tidbits and insights. For the next stream, we should be cranking up some more Megascans. We'll go ahead and open up the Quixel bridge and pull over some cliff assets and maybe a couple other things to fill out this concept level. Also be looking at the targeting system. So one of the big things for the actual voice implementation of this concept game is to have that targeting system. So we didn't get quite into that today, so we'll definitely be covering that during the next stream. So pretty much everything we use today is available on the Unreal Engine marketplace. It's a really great tool as an indie developer to learn, explore, integrate different things together and really come up with unique and fun games. So it's been a really fun experience, and I can't wait to show the actual voice part of what's going to come out of this concept game. I know it probably doesn't look like too much right now, even though we did get a lot done in this stream. I'm so stoked for how we're going to make this AI voice technology kind of be a seamless part of the gameplay experience for this game, and hopefully it'll work smooth enough to it really actually enhances that gameplay. That's the goal. So appreciate you watching. Definitely make sure to subscribe and follow us on our social media if you like these types of videos and you picked something up today. We'll definitely be covering some more on the next stream. Everybody I know is dealing with new restrictions and lockdowns, so from everybody here at Tree, we hope you stay safe and strong throughout this holiday season, and wish you the best. Catch you next time.